It's been a year, and it's good to see everyone here. It's an exciting time of year, as you all know. We've had the rookies here for 3 days. The vets showed up today, so just walking around the building, there's a lot of juice. There's a lot of energy, and we have a lot of optimism in this season. And obviously, there's a lot of work to be done, and that starts today when the vets report. But we like where we are as a team. We had a productive off season, with some of our additions and free agency in the draft. Really proud of Vic and his coaching staff. The way they navigated another challenging off season, with some of the COVID stuff that was going on and some of the other obstacles. Also proud of our players. And, I had never seen our players in a competitive environment. But to watch them work, through phase 2 and mini camp and throughout the off season, one thing I learned about these players, they love to compete. They love to work. They love the grind. I think they love each other, and they love ball. And most importantly, they all want to win. And I feel this group's going to do everything they can to win. And I'm just excited to see it tomorrow when we get in the field and through the rest of training camp. And so, again, I feel we're on the right track, have a long way to go. I want to acknowledge our fans. I've seen a lot of our fans out in the community. Just love the passion that they show for the Broncos. Excited to see them out here for our 12 open practices in training camp. Players are excited to see them. We missed them, obviously, last year. And really excited to see our fans as we get to the fall. And we have the best home field advantage in the NFL. I also want to acknowledge Chip Conway and our football operations department. Typically at the end of June and July, everyone leaves the building, they get refreshed, they go on vacation, but Chip and his staff, they stayed back, and we underwent a big construction in our building, really for the player personnel department, and it really took us to the next level, and they never got a break, and they're still here grinding. So I just wanted to give a kudos to Chip and those guys for what they do, and we've gotten a lot better, and also with Joe Ellis giving us the resources to do whatever we want to do to win. And that's what it's all about, is winning, and we plan on doing that. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Hey, George, got 2 for you. First, after the offseason program, what is your confidence level in your top 2 quarterbacks that one of them can maybe establish themselves as a regular season?
Yeah, very confident in both quarterbacks. I thought they had some peaks and valleys through the offseason program. They both worked. I think they both work well together, very competitive. They work well off each other. But I thought they finished strong, and look forward to seeing them compete tomorrow.
And secondly, first year here for you, but 5 years out of the playoffs for this team, a lot of young players. What kind of standard do you want to see set over the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, we expect to win. We have high expectations here. The players want to win. The staff, everyone wants to win. We're going to do whatever it takes. Obviously, it starts tomorrow. It's a process. Every day is a process. And I've said this before, we want to be relevant November, December. We want to make a push for the playoffs. I know Vic feels the same way. But, it does no good talking about it. We have to do it on the field, and we plan on doing that.
Hey, George, with your quarterback competition, do you believe that the shorter that competition is, the better? Is there a sort of a deadline in your mind that you would like to have the winner of that competition announced? And
I don't think, and it's Vic's going to make the call. And but just me personally, I don't think you put a deadline on it. You'd hope to see some separation as we get into Minnesota with the scrimmages. We play some games, and I know it's tricky. They both need the reps, but I wouldn't put a time frame on it. I think it needs to just happen organically, and again, that's up to Vic and his coaches.
George, how involved were you behind the scenes with the Aaron Rodgers drama in terms of what was going on there and what possibly the Broncos would have done to try to acquire him?
Yes, I can't comment on the player. He's with another team, and I would just say, as I've said before, we monitor every situation. We're going to have a pulse on every situation. And if a player is available that we covet, we're going to be aggressive and try to get him. But I can't comment on that situation.
George, last we spoke to you, we asked about Bradley Chubb and Cortland Sutton and possible extensions there.
Yes.
You said you would address that after the draft. Where are you guys at with that? Is that something you're still pursuing?
Yeah, those are 2 of our core guys. And I've said a number of times, we're going to keep our core guys. That's our goal. We're going to draft and develop, and we're going to take care of our own. Right now we're focused on camp and getting through camp, but at the right time we're going to try to get these guys done, and they know that.
George, Juwan went down at right tackle. You had Cam Fleming, Bobby Massey. How do you feel about that position? And
I feel good. Bobby Massey's been a good player in this league. He was with the Bears. We played against him. He's a guy that's hard to get around in pass pro. He's long, still young enough. He had an injury last year, but feel good about him. And then with Fleming, he's played a lot of football. So I feel like we have good depth. We're going to be better than we were last year. Bobby Massey's been a solid starter in this league. And again, I like our other depth as well.
George, got a couple for you. You inherited a team that hasn't scored more than 21 points a game in 5 years since Manning. What is it about this offense, this personnel, makes you think they can have a breakthrough?
Right, good question. I just think that the offense is really young last year, and they lost their voice in Cortland Sutton and their juice, and he meant so much to this team. And then you have a rookie center, and you're young at tackle, and you're young, so young quarterback and young receivers, and I just think another year in the program, another year with the offseason. You draft a running back to help with that crew. You sign Mike Boone. I think we're going to be more physical up front, with Meinertz and some of our other linemen. So I like our offensive line. I like our backs. Tight ends are talented. Talent at receiver. These guys just need to play. The offseason's been vital for these guys. So I've seen the growth throughout the offseason, and it's just going to keep going, hopefully in training camp.
And one more real quick. With Vaughn, you've been around him now a little bit. What is your expectation for Vaughn this season? And will Bradley have any limitations when camp starts?
Right. Vaughn, totally impressed with Vaughn. I've never seen him practice. I just saw him in games on tape, but when you watch him, he's we all know how athletic he is. He's 32. He looks 25. Vaughn knows this is a big year for all of us. He's worked hard. He's put in the work, and my expectations are very high for him.
With Chubb, is he clear?
He'll be fine. Chubb will be fine. He's going to be clear. He'll be clear.
George, Baron Browning obviously missed the majority of the spring with the lower leg injury. Now he's on the PUP list. Does this look like a long-term thing in terms of his injury? Do you hope to get him back shortly?
Yeah, we do. We hope to get him back shortly. He could probably go tomorrow, but we just want to be safe, be conservative. But he'll be ready here within the week, I believe.
Hey, George, Draymond Jones has been discussed as a breakout candidate for this year. What gives you hope that could happen? Then behind the front three, defensive line depth, what gives you confidence, in those guys?
Right, Draymond is a breakout player. I just watched the tape last year, how he's improved in the run game. I think he's a very good inline pass rusher. He has great hands in the run game, great quickness as a pass rusher, plays hard, works hard. He's everything we want here. And I thought he broke out last year, to tell you the truth.
George Vickle tells to guard against judging the quarterback competition every throw, every day, but that's basically your and your staff's job. So how do you evaluate practice to practice, and what do you try to get each day, watching these guys?
You just want to see improvement from day to day, and who's the most consistent, who's the most steady, who's the most calm. There's just so many things to evaluate in a quarterback, as you know. It's just not one thing. We put a lot of time into it, obviously, visually on the field. When we get off the field, we study the tape as a group, individually. We get with the coaches. And so we do that with every position, but quarterback obviously heightened. But we have great competition at every position. That's what we wanted going into this offseason, is competition. Quarterback as well, but we have great competition in the D-line. I didn't answer your question on the D-line. I like our depth on the D-line, with some of our backups. But anyway, no, it's something we're going to study like all our positions.
George, being the general manager for the first time, how does that change your view on camp, and kind of what are you and the personnel staff plan to do in terms of meeting and evaluating practice day to day?
Yeah, nothing's going to change how I've done it in the past, and probably how they've done it here. You go to practice, you analyze practice live, you go back to your desk, you watch it, you discuss it with your staff, you discuss it with the coaches. That's what we love. That's the best part of our job, is the football part. Watching practice, talking different scenarios. How many receivers are we going to keep? How many runners are we going to keep? If we're talented at tight end, how many are we going to keep here? Are we going to keep 8 O linemen? Or are we going to keep 9? 6 corners, 5. So those are the discussions you have daily. So by the time you get to your 53-man cut, a lot of your decisions have been made because we've discussed them, kind of like the draft. Draft day is easy. It's leading up to the draft, that's challenging. So.
Hi, George. Could you confirm for us what your vaccination rate is now among players and staff? And I know you guys were one of the first teams to kind of get over that 90%.
Right.
So what was particularly effective? What message did you find worked?
Yeah, I mean, it's our leadership. It's Vic. It's Joe Ellis. Communicating, full transparency with the players. And so I just kudos to Vic and Joe and all our coaches and the follow-up and really our players. Our rate, we're over the 85% limit, the league, the 85%, and then as a staff, we're 100%. I don't know the exact percent, but, it wasn't easy, but it was a lot of work by Vic, the coaches, Joe, a lot of education, a lot of discussion, a lot of communication. So I think, we're one of the higher teams in the league, and it's going to help us.
George, a philosophical question as you start camp. Is it still possible with all the rule changes in this game to win with defense first, to be, as this roster in this salary situation is so structured towards the defense and it's more of a veteran defensive team, can you win that way in today's NFL?
I mean, Tampa had a pretty good defense. I think defense won that game. I think you always, I think you want to have both, obviously. I do think you can win with a really strong defense and a good offense. You like to have both. I hope we have a really good defense. I hope that's where we're at. But I think we're going to have an explosive offense as well. So I appreciate the question. It's a tough answer, but a defense will keep you in every game. A really strong defense.
Hey, George, 2 for you. What is the challenge of the different cutdowns this year, 90 to 85, 85 to 80?
Yeah, not much. We're so flexible and adaptable. In this stage of the game, that's pretty minor, really. I mean, I think it's not going to change much. Not much of a challenge. We talk about it so much. Now we're going to talk about who's the first 5. Who's the bottom 5. Who's the bottom 10. But we'll have so many discussions. It's just another procedure. We've been through this so many times, through COVID, and our staff's adaptable, our coaches are adaptable. So really, that's very minor.
And then with Jerry Jeudy and your experience with receivers from year 1, year 2, where did they make the biggest jump, and where do you think Jerry can jump to?
Well, I just think they, being in an off-season program, mastering the offense, getting stronger, getting more chemistry with the quarterback, all those little things, the details in route running, separation. He separates he might be the best separator and one of the better, but just the nuances of route running. You're just not going to run by these guys. You're not going to, so he needs to just keep, developing his route prowess. And I think if you watched him this offseason, he's taken a big step, one of the bigger steps of anyone. So I'm really excited about him and his progression.
Thank you very much, George.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.